And welcome into the Tuesday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you. Hope everybody's off to a great start this morning. Joe Rexrode, how we doing? What's going on? What's new in your world? All those things.
Doing okay. Not much going on. College kid back home for a little brief period, so full family of 5.
Oh, boy.
For a couple days, and getting back to football practice. People guys say, I gotta say, we're gonna talk a lot about it this week and stuff, but like the NFL again, like sometimes step back and be amazed. Like people get excited about because two teams practice with each other.
I know.
Oh my God, this really good receiver and this really good DB had a drill against each other. Holy crap.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, what's really great is when they play games and then they do it over and over again and tackle and stuff. And they keep score.
And
hey,
the winner
but again,
actually matters,
you know what? Good for the NFL, man. Good for the NFL.
They are in a spot as a league that is enviable to everybody else, where any and everything they do just generates an incredible amount of attention.
Like if they just play, just whatever. Just, hey, we got these teams together to play, Monopoly, and my God, it's just, or I guess Belichick, Duck, Duck, Goose, or whatever, like just people would show up with cameras.
They would.
It's amazing.
It is pretty wild. Nick Keyser, good morning. How we doing?
Morning. Yeah, doing well. Probably better than Hassan Reddick this morning. What an interesting storyline yesterday.
Yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit later in the show.
I thought you were going to say better than John Tavares, but okay.
Well, there's that
wow,
too.
that is a pretty good one too. Yeah.
John,
you had a chance with them, bring some hockey into this thing, man.
we
I
still
know.
like you, but you will not be captaining this team anymore. It's going to be Austin Matthews.
Maybe
But you'll still be here.
it's like
'cause
a
nobody takes your contract.
It's like a transition, like the transitioning the young CEO or whatever,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I don't even know
That's
the
how-
last
That's
time.
how you spin it, right?
I have no idea when something like this, happened recently. I mean, I thought of
I think
the
Thornton got his captaincy stripped.
He did.
I think in favor of like Pavelski.
He did.
Yeah.
Last
Sometimes
one-
it needs to happen, probably.
I thought of the Calgary one, honestly, when Ginla got it.
Yeah.
But that's a long time ago.
We might I'm sure we'll get a text at some point today. They should strip Roman Yossi's captaincy and give it to Steven Stamkos.
I was going to say
Maybe.
Cole Smith, but
Well,
yeah.
What a leader. A lot of
Yeah.
Cole Smith love from you on the show. I like it.
Cole Smith is the hockey NWI.
He is. It's very comparable. No doubt about it. We do have a lot to get into on the program. We are going to get into the Hassan Reddick stuff a little bit later in the show. Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel will join us at 7. We'll catch up on what's going on in Tennessee fall camp. They had their first scrimmage of camp on Friday night, so we'll get Adam's thoughts on all that. John McClain from HoustonTexans.com will join us at 8. We will, of course, get his thoughts on the Texans. We'll get his thoughts on all things NFL as well. So looking forward to old John McClain being with us at 8 o'clock. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Joe, before we get into the Hassan Reddick stuff, which is just another wonderful illustration of the New York Jets and the way that they handle business here, let's get to a couple of storylines around the preseason from week 1. For the most part, it looks like the rookie quarterbacks did well. We talked about Caleb Williams yesterday. J.J. McCarthy played well. Now he's dealing with some knee soreness at the moment, so we'll see what exactly that looks like as they move forward here. Jaden Daniels got in for Washington, led a nice drive down the field, had a rushing touchdown. Then they got him out of here, made one really good throw down the field. So all in all, rookie quarterbacks with, I guess, the exception of like Drake May, who was just like, okay.
Joe
Milton looked pretty good.
Who's losing to Joe Milton, but
Yeah, he is. Other than Drake May, it feels like the rookie quarterbacks are looking pretty good right now.
Yeah. A lot of excitement about Caleb Williams. And, of course, a couple great throws. I mean, I'm fascinated to watch him in this league. There's a lot there for sure. Yeah, nice look from Jaden Daniels. McCarthy had a bad pick, but he bounced back and threw a couple really nice deep shots for touchdowns. The knee thing is a little concerning, I guess, but overall, pretty good debut for him. And yeah, Drake May just sort of, he didn't play a lot. I sat through that preseason game because I wanted to watch Joe Milton. So, Drake May got a little bit of time. They played a lot of Bailey Zappi.
Yeah.
Which has almost made me feel like that game was in part just really like it's Zappi versus Milton. I think Milton's going to win that, and then of course people are going completely overboard. Look, I'm here for it. I'm
rooting for the guy.
Yeah, but like Charles told us, like, guys, calm down. I mean, they just drafted Drake May at the top of the draft. There is the example of Washington drafting RG3 at the top of the number 2 overall, and then Cousins in the 4th round, and eventually, but this is top of the draft in 6th round, and we've seen Joe Milton, but I tell you what, I like how he looked. I mean, I do. So, but yeah, May does. Well, that's another thing Charles said, which I think is playing out, is like the amount of time that he may need is a little longer than some people realize, and maybe unlike some of these other guys. I mean, I think McCarthy's going to get the benefit of not starting the season out too, and then the other 2 are, right? I always keep forgetting who else is in Washington with Jaden Daniels.
And now that you've brought it up, I'm forgetting too.
We've talked about it. Yeah, we've talked about it. Not that long ago. We talked about it. But I think he's going to start, right? I believe so. I think Daniels and Williams are going to start. So, but yeah, good stuff early going from them. So
Marcus Mariota.
It
is
Washington.
Is Marcus in Washington?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Him and Jeff Driscoll.
Okay, maybe I was thinking of Driscoll, but I totally did. Yeah,
And Sam Hartman.
That's who it is. Sam Hartman. Okay.
Sam Hartman too. Jeez, that's a lot.
What a room.
Yeah, my goodness. Well, that's not. Yeah, that's not.
So yes, Jaden Daniels will be starting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm trying to think. I was, rooting for Marcus. Would like to see Marcus get opportunity, but yeah, I think Marcus needs to settle into QB2 life and enjoy it.
Anthony Richardson back on the field for Indianapolis, coming off the injury last year. He did play in their preseason game on Sunday. Finished 2 of 4 for 25 yards, 6.3 per attempt, a quarterback rating of 69.8. Also ran the ball one time for 1 yard. So I don't know. I didn't see it. It could have been a QB sneak. I have no idea what it was, but
I don't know.
He ran the ball one time for 1 yard. Interested to see if they can keep him healthy this year. But what do you make of the buzz around Anthony Richardson throughout camp so far with the Indianapolis Colts, and not a whole lot going on for him in the preseason opener?
Well, I was interested, and I think it was actually a tweet conversation, in something I saw from my coworker, The Athletic, and our friend of the show, James Boyd, who we're going to have on here soon. Guy is just ball of energy. But essentially, he was tweeting how Joe Flacco had just been a lot sharper than Richardson during camp. Again, now that's always okay. Well, there's ones. So, it's not good if you have the ones receivers, ones off the line. You are going against the ones defense, but I'm reading some other stuff too about Richardson and just how he's looked, and it's a little bit underwhelming,
which is, we know Colts camp sometimes. The tales of how the quarterbacks look, they get wild coming out of there. Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan. You wouldn't believe how good Matt Ryan looks in there.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. General Grant, Matt Ryan, just, the
definition of leadership.
Yeah.
All those things.
Yeah.
So if they're saying it's a little rocky, might be rough in there.
And it's one of those things. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen anything where it's like it's bad, but also still a little bit. I mean, it kind of feels like maybe still a rookie situation. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is, he played how many games last year?
4.
So the Titans game was the 4th game.
Yeah.
So he played 3, and that was early. Am I right? That was like, I think, the first or second quarter of that game. So I guess that shouldn't be too much of a surprise. But when I think about, I'm not sitting here. I don't think anybody here is saying Will Levis, holy cow, he is absolutely blowing the roof off the place daily, But I think overall it's been pretty positive. I think it was a nice preseason debut for him. And I think that's just, those two teams, both or neither or one or the other, could be, I think, in the mix to make the playoffs this year. But it's about those two guys, And I do wonder. I mean, it's going to be very interesting with Anthony Richardson. I mean, I love the idea of Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, and they didn't play together last year.
No.
That should be pretty good. They've improved at receiver, although somebody got hurt. One of their guys got hurt already at receiver, at least for a little bit. But you know, they keep adding there, so I think it could be good, but I don't know. I still don't know if he's good.
We're off and running today. Robby and Rexrode taking your thoughts. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. We will take more of your thoughts on Anthony Richardson coming up next. Adam, hang with us. We will get to you. More of some headlines around the NFL, including the Hassan Reddick situation brewing in New York. Should the Tennessee Titans throw their name into the hat with Hassan Reddick? Should it become available via trade? We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, broadcasting from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning. We're taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line. Welcome in Adam in Portland. Adam, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Robby, buddy. Hey, so you know what's weird? So I had work take me up just north of Indianapolis for the past couple of weeks, and listening on the app all the time. But talking to these customers, man, like I got to talk football with somebody, and so number one, they hate the Titans. But I asked every one of them about Anthony Richardson, and not one of them was excited about Anthony Richardson, which shocked me. Like I feel like. Because you'd think, you'd hear about it, like there's nothing but potential with this kid. But I think they're all more worried that he's going to get hurt. So like, that's the only thing he showed me is they can get hurt. But they are excited about Jonathan Taylor. And I think rightly so. Like, I worry about that game. I feel like that guy could probably run for 200 yards on us. And so, like, I feel like that really hasn't been addressed as much. I know y'all talked about it, but I don't see him bringing in linebackers left and right to compete. And I feel like that's a big hole. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't see Randall Godfrey potential for us. But I do worry about the Colts for that guy for like the main reason.
Yep. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I mean, I still think the excitement is and will be there for Anthony Richardson from Colts fans based on, I mean, it is potential. That's all it is, right? I mean, he's not demonstrated anything else at this point. He's played 4 games. Joey had the conversation. Like, I remember 2 years ago, we were talking about Anthony Richardson and how he might benefit from staying another year in college. And he didn't. He came out. He blew everybody away at the combine with one of the best testing days we've ever seen, and ended up going 4th overall. So it was a good decision by him to come out and go where he went. But I still, like, it didn't change my thought on him. Like, I still think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And probably, just to be totally honest with you, like, he would be a guy, and we talk about this a lot, he would have been a guy that I would have liked to have seen probably sit for a year before they started to play him. Now, you can't predict somebody getting hurt, and it is what it is. He got hurt, and he only played 4 games. So in some ways, it kind of was a lost season for him. But I thought, and we talked about it at the time, I thought from the jump he probably would have been better served by sitting for a year anyway. So I'm interested to see what that looks like this year. Now, that he does have a year in an NFL building, even if he only got on the field for 4 games.
Yeah. I mean, I think another year in college, you can't blame him when you go where you go in the draft.
No, I mean, he clearly made the right decision.
Yeah. But, yeah, he a redshirt year in the pros. I guess he sort of got the medical redshirt year after a little bit of action. But that's the thing. It kind of is. He kind of is a rookie. So what does that mean? What does that look like? And, I think it's going to be the constant thing in his career of it's got to be enticing to want to use his ability to run. Cause he's a guy who could give you, huge runs.
Sure.
I mean, but then also, like, how do you do that while keeping him safe? And that was the immediate question for Shane Steichen last year is like, man, there's a lot of QB run stuff in this offense. I mean, he has said it, I think before. It's like, well, you do what someone does well, right? But it's just in this league at quarterback, that's just a hard life to live. I mean, Lamar Jackson has been a threat, and that offense has been built around him running to some extent in his entire career, and it's been really good. But that offense is not this offense either, so that's going to be an interesting part of it. I'm really interested to see how he's going to do. As I'm saying this, Nick Baumgartner, we've had Nick Baumgartner around, right?
We have.
So he's got his breakout candidates for the NFL, and he's just doing at every position. He's just going through breakout candidates, okay? And he's got his quarterback, not Richardson, not Bryce Young, but Will Levis.
Oh, boy.
Running back, Tyjae Spears.
A lot of Titans.
He's got a 5-man offensive line that includes Peter Skoronski, and he's got 4 linebackers or 3 inside linebackers that include Otis Reese.
Otis Reese, huh?
talk about a Titans homer. But
My
seriously, the Otis Reese thing is really interesting. And Nick, that Nick does. I mean, that's what he does is the draft and NFL film stuff for us. That's the other ones I get. And Otis Reese is really interesting. I don't know about Otis Reese. Is Otis Reese are we sleeping on Otis Reese as a guy who might play this year for the Titans?
I mean, look, at that position, I can't say that I know for sure that he won't play because I have no idea how it's going to work out with how they're currently constructed at that position.
It's funny seeing this after a preseason game in which he looked way better than Jack Gibbons. But again, it's like a few reps for the defense with kind of the ones, and then you get into all the backups in a preseason game. What does it mean? Otis Reese does have potential to be really good.
Okay.
But I mean, I've just considered him, like a good backup guy who's on the roster, a guy who plays special teams, a guy who helps out. Maybe he's part of the answer at some point.
If all those guys break out, Titans probably going to have a pretty good year.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
be in good shape.
I mean, I guess at running back,
no Stetson Bennett on the list.
There, I do not see Stetson Bennett at running back. Yeah,
slinging it the other day.
Yeah, he was throwing. A lot of people were catching his passes.
Catching the ball.
Yes, they were landing in hands. They definitely were. I mean, at running back, you got Charbonnet, Roshan Johnson, Ashane. That guy's pretty freaking good.
Yeah, we got to figure out what his name is. We figured it out last year.
Achane?
I think it is Achane.
I think it is Achane.
Man, we have really struggled with that.
Figure that out.
But no, I think Spears makes sense there, and of course you would hope that Skoronski would be. I don't know any of the other guys on the list of offensive linemen other than Darnell Wright.
Well, there's that guy too.
But yeah, if all these guys, again, this is a short list of just like a starting all-star team basically of second-year players. That bode pretty well for the Titans.
Remember when all the Georgia fans were mad at us because we didn't think Stetson Bennett was going to be very good in the NFL? All right.
Did I say that? I don't know that I even said that.
I think I said that.
Because I think the argument was why he wasn't drafted high, right? Where did he end up going?
God, I want to say, did he go 5th round?
I think some people were like, I mean, they just won the national championship. How is he not a first-round pick? It's like, well, he's not a first. I have said that I thought Stetson Bennett could be good in the NFL.
He's 4th rounder.
Yeah. I've said I thought he could be good in the NFL. I mean, I was like, maybe you and I disagreed on that. I can't take credit for saying he would stink.
I'm not trying to take anything away from what he did in college because clearly he was a very good college player. But I think in this conversation, and we talked about this at the time, like if you don't recognize as a Georgia fan or anybody else that he was playing with an unbelievable amount of talent around him on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, and that probably played a little bit of a factor as to what we saw out there, then I think you're not being very sincere with the conversation.
Yeah, no question. I knocked CJ Stroud for that some too. It's like, wow.
Every receiver must be first rounder.
It must be nice to be able to arm punt and your receiver has 10 yards of separation, So turns out that he's pretty good. I mean, I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying sometimes it gets hard with loaded teams where they have such an advantage. You still could be great within that, and CJ Stroud clearly was. So anyway,
Bennett, future starter for the Rams after Stafford's done.
I mean, that last preseason game makes you think that'd be tough, but you know what? I really do think he
did score the game-winning touchdown after the 4 picks, so they did win.
That is right. By the way, Adam in Portland says, I forgot to add how much Indiana sucks. Tennessee is amazing. I know you guys are both transplants. Robbie's not a transplant. Robbie is not a transplant. Can we all just agree this is the best state in the United States? I mean, Indiana.
I was born here.
Yeah, Robbie's from here, man. I will say that as someone who was born in Michigan, I like Indiana better than Ohio because in Indiana they know how to drive. In Ohio, they do not know how to drive. As we've discussed,
I forgot about your character assassination of Ohio, of the drivers.
They don't know how to drive. It's weird, man. Speaking of Ohio, this has become just a totally random stream of consciousness segment. Our buddy Chris Martell, did you see that he's trying to sell Creed tickets?
No, I did not. You gonna buy them?
No, I tweeted. I said, "Pay me $200 and I'll go." That's tonight, right?
I think it's tonight.
Yeah.
Could be a real nice night out there.
I'm sure it would be a real nice night out there. But anyway, he's looking to sell. I hope he has sold them, but he keeps lowering the price.
I mean,
He keeps lowering the price on Twitter.
I'm glad you brought this up because honestly, I totally forgot that was going down today. We probably need to make this this probably needs to be a Creed Day on the show.
Oh,
Don't we
God.
think?
Why? Yeah. Why can't I bring this up at 8:30 instead of 6:30?
Keezer, I think we might need to make this happen. I think we might need to have Creed Day on the program today.
Keep playing the 2 crappy songs everybody knows over and over again.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We will get into the Hassan Reddick situation with the New York Jets, just continuing to be a totally dysfunctional organization. If he is made available for trade, should the Tennessee Titans pursue Hassan Reddick? We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game. Hey, Robbie Stanley here. Kickoff football season at Twin Peaks' ultimate draft party headquarters this season. When you're not on the clock, league members can sit back and relax with one of Twin Peaks' refreshing 29-degree beers, or order for the whole team with the Peak Sampler full of fan favorites, or indulge in shareables like the double stack nachos, loaded fries, and multiple flavors of boneless wings. Visit twinpeaks.com/fantasy draft for more information. Once again, that's twinpeaks.com/fantasy draft.
help me out? Can you lend me a hand? It's safe to say that I'm stuck out here. Trapped between this life.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. 1025, 1063 the game. What a day here in our city. Creed in concert tonight. It really is it should be almost a crime that we're not doing the show like from the stage of a sand amphitheater today.
Yes. Yeah, I know. We should be doing the live remote right now.
We really
as
should.
they prepare 12 hours from now.
You get a sound check? Anybody got a sound check?
I love that place. Too bad it's going to be soiled tonight.
I'm still holding out hope for you to find tickets and get there tonight.
Yeah.
I think you can do it.
Yeah, it's not happening, man. Again, I'm bidding is open. So, if someone wants to start a GoFundMe for me to go, then we can talk.
Rexrode.
Oh,
Nice.
we could get that in person tonight. Really is just a giant missed opportunity.
Get called
our
on
part.
stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my close personal friend, Joe Rexrode. 615-737-1025, our phone number. So what do you make of this Hassan Reddick situation going on with the Jets? For those who have missed it. So Hassan Reddick was traded from Philadelphia to the Jets back in March. I think it was like a conditional third. He's got 1 year left on his deal. And Hassan Reddick, in each of the past 4 seasons, has had 10 or more sacks. So he had 12 and a half in 2020, 11 in 21, 16 in 2022 with Philadelphia, and then 11 last year. So obviously he has been a very productive player over the last 4 years. He wants another contract, obviously. He's 29 years old. He was traded from Philadelphia to the New York Jets, has not taken a single snap for the Jets. So he didn't show up to minicamp. He has not shown up to training camp at this point. And yesterday has officially requested a trade for the New York Jets. What do you make of, first off, before we get to whether or not the Titans should be interested, what do you make of the way that this – I don't know that I've ever seen one exactly like this in terms of a player being acquired 4 months ago, and by the time camp rolls around, it feels like the relationship is already destroyed between the two parties. What do you make of the Hassan Reddick situation?
I mean, this is truly amazing. The New York Jets are like the LA Clippers of the 80s or something. So I'm going to read this. This is a long tweet from Diana Rossini, but this, I think, sums it all up pretty well. Diana, she was actually going to come on today, but she's flying during the show. She's flying all over this country trying to deal with weird stuff like this. But let me just read this from her. Quote, trust and communication issues led to the situation between the Jets and Reddick. Here's what I know. The Jets traded for Reddick knowing he wanted a contract adjustment. All teams interested in trading with the Eagles were told he wanted a new deal. Jets made a below-market offer before the trade. Reddick turned it down. The Jets moved forward with the trade without a deal in place. The Jets never made a new offer on a long-term extension because they said they were informed by Reddick's rep that he would play under his contract. That is not the player's side. Reddick's camp believes the Jets said they would do a deal and trusted this would get done by camp. A few weeks ago, the Jets called and said they'd be willing to rework the current deal if he showed up. From the player's side, that's not what they agreed to before the trade, so he didn't show. Now trust is broken by all, end quote.
Just masterfully handled.
Yeah. I mean, so it's like, were the Jets just hoping they could just get like a 1 year, yeah, man. I mean, we're just coming. Oh, as long as he'll play this year on the deal. I mean, it's on both sides of this. It's like, okay, make sure, communicate and make sure. And, but the Jets to me are just like, I guess it's maybe goes along with all the dysfunction that we've seen recently. I tend to just blame them more than anything.
Here's what I don't understand, especially from the perspective of Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. I have no idea how involved Robert Saleh is in some of these discussions. Maybe he's not at all. But from those two's perspective, I would not have any hesitation whatsoever to give him the contract. Because quite frankly, if you don't win this year, neither one of you are going to be there next year.
Right. That's very true.
You're not going to be around. There is a ton of pressure on those two. Rodgers, like if they're not good this year and they don't make the playoffs, all of them are going to be gone. All of them. So, like, from a selfish perspective, if I'm Joe Douglas, yeah, I'll give you a new contract and I'll worry about that stuff later. But just get in here and help us win. And if the contract looks horrible in 3 years, then I'll deal with it then. But that's the part of this that I don't understand. Now, maybe it's, Woody Johnson saying, yeah, I don't want to.
Well, that's
I don't
where,
wanna
that's
give
where
out
I
all that
was
money
going next.
to-
Yeah.
Hassan Reddick. And if that's the case, then I guess it just is what it is if it's the owner part of this. But strictly speaking from the general manager's perspective, like that was my main takeaway yesterday was like, who cares if you give him money if you're Joe Douglas? If you don't win this year, you're fired anyway.
Yeah. Now that's where I'm like, so, okay. So is Johnson and Johnson getting cheap on us here? And is that, I mean, I don't, because you're absolutely right. I mean, if you have the green light and, maybe what he wants is, I mean, it's not like you just just throw caution win and sign him to anything. But if like Diana reports here that they offered a below market deal, I mean, I'm with you. You've got to have the guy, and I mean, this guy on that team this year could be
really good.
Could be. Their defense was ridiculous last year without him. So, yeah, then you wonder how much interference or unwillingness to pay there is coming from from the man with the purse strings.
Now, look, always we've talked about this with Yannick Ngakoue before too, right? Like he's been on a ton of different teams, and Hassan Reddick was with Arizona, then he was in Carolina, then he was in Philly, and now he's in New York. So you're talking about 4 teams in a relatively short amount of time. I mean, he's been in the league since 2017. So there is the fair question of, all right, well, why could he never really stick around anywhere? Like, why is he never a part of a team's long-term plan? But as Diana pointed out in that tweet, like it's not like it's some secret when he got traded from Philadelphia to the Jets that he wanted a new contract. He was on the last year of his deal.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's the normal way to do business is if you're going to do this trade, that means you're accepting the willingness to extend. That's what it is.
So it kind of feels like
every
that decision,
agent operates.
Well, it kind of feels like that decision, like once you make the decision to trade for him, like that's a decision you're making in addition to that, right?
Yes.
Like, all right, well, I guess we're trying to get up an extension. That's the other part of this that I don't understand. So, I mean, look, it seems pretty bad between the two sides right now. Now, maybe, the Jets have taken the position of they're not trading him and they're going to continue to find him if he misses camp. And I guess with the hope that eventually he's just going to wear down, show back up, and play out the last year of his contract with the Jets this year. But let's say it just gets to the point where they feel like it's such a distraction and they've got to trade him. You look at Hassan Reddick. Do you think the Titans should be interested in trading for and then extending Hassan Reddick to come in and be a part of the group that rushes the passer here?
It's an interesting question. There is the matter of, and I haven't seen it. And maybe it's been out there. I haven't seen like what he's looking for because like you do need to have some realistic parameters here. Again, that's no excuse at all for the Jets. Like the Jets have botched. Like you know what you're getting into when you do this. See the Jets. You sign up for the pain later if it's like you said. So he's 29 years old. You're talking about, 4 straight seasons, double-digit sacks, almost, really most of his career production is in the last 4 years. You're signing up for pain because you are in a situation right now to go win.
Yes.
As weird as it is about the Jets, that's what they are with Aaron Rodgers playing this year. Titans aren't. So would he make them better this year? Heck yeah. I mean, if they had Hassan Reddick on this defense with what they have inside with Landry, it'd be fun to watch.
Sure would.
But I still think like any deal with him, you're like, you expect big things this year. You expect big things next year. And, after that, you can't really. And that's what any kind of deal would be, right? It would be like 2 years of pain and then you can get out of it. I just don't know that the Titans right now as a team are in that position. Some people would disagree. It's like, well, if you signed Snead and you brought in Diggs and on, a Woozy and all these guys and Ridley, then why wouldn't you want another great player, you know?
Well, I mean, I hear everything you're saying. I also would say, like, I don't know that they're in that position either. But what if 9 games into the season, it becomes pretty clear that Will Levis is that guy and he's your franchise quarterback you're building around? Well, then all of a sudden you probably are in that position, right? In terms of, all right, Will Levis is pretty good. Let's try to load up the team around him as much as we possibly can. And Reddick would certainly be a big piece of that there. Now, again, that's a big risk you're taking at that point because you could also get 9 games into the season and it becomes pretty clear that he's not the guy. And now all of a sudden you're paying Hassan Reddick and you got to go draft another quarterback next year.
And Mason Rudolph's playing quarterback, and your defense is holding the score down though. But it's. I mean, I think it's worth a lot of teams out there worth poking around and be like, yeah, we'll capitalize on your complete botching of this situation, Jets.
It really is amazing. It really is amazing the way that they continue to just screw everything up. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on the Hassan Reddick situation. If he is available for trade, should the Titans pursue him? Another option mentioned on the text line as well that we'll get to coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Teaser here with you on this Tuesday morning. Scott Stoop in the background.
What was the day that I had not that long ago?
I don't know. I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember who it was. It was not All Oats.
All I know is when I have a day, I better get every break with that. We're 2 for 2 with this crap. I'm going to be worked up into a terrible mood by the end of this show. If you're seriously going to make me listen to look at them laughing at me.
I'm going to be in a great mood.
Yeah.
It's going to be an awesome show.
Deep cuts. They just sound worse and worse.
I think I'd probably find a way to get there tonight. See what it's like.
Search up Martell on Twitter, man. I hope he has pawned those off for $5 a piece, but he was starting high and plummeting quickly there.
I had someone on YouTube mention, because I was clipping something you guys just said, and I don't know what to call this person, K Dottie or something. Creed and Three Doors Down tomorrow in Birmingham. That would be insane too, Joe.
So they're going tonight here.
Off the hook.
Tomorrow, Birmingham. Man, we could have done Robby and Rexrode on the road.
That's right.
Jeez.
Gone to Bama camp or something. Yeah. Made a little trip out of it.
737-1025. By the way, we'll have announcements on how you can join the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League a little bit later this week.
That's right.
So make sure you're tuned in for that.
So, Nick, are you actually going to give me that password, or are you going to do that in the 7 o'clock hour?
Hey,
8 o'clock hour?
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
My mom said you had Def Leppard a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I regret not going to Def Leppard. Oh, that was the day we had? Okay, thank you. Okay, thanks. That's right. Yeah, see, there was a lot of Def Leppard meat on the bone.
Just left it out there.
That show. I got plenty of Def Leppard deep cuts I would have liked. Long fuse, yes. Here we go.
Chuck on the text line says, please don't bring up having a good defense while trying to look for a quarterback. Titans fans have lived through that nightmare for 20 years. Well, hopefully you won't have to look. Hopefully you got one.
Some franchises look for a quarterback with bad defenses.
Yeah.
Think of it that way.
There
could be worse.
There
The Detroit Lions would be a good example for many years of their existence.
Trevor on the text line. Hassan Reddick or Matthew Judon, if both were available, who would you go after? Saw Jeremy Fowler report yesterday that multiple teams have inquired about Judon as well. What do you make of that?
So first of all, and look, profess my ignorance. Who is a better scheme fit? Denard Wilson might look at either of them and be like, "Oh yeah, he's a must." I believe he was with Reddick, right? At some, was he with Reddick? Maybe not. Reddick only spent the last 2 years in Philly. Wilson was in Baltimore last year, but regardless, Judon is how old?
He was 30. I think he's 32 this year.
Yeah, so he's a little bit older. Reddick is
32 in 2 days.
Reddick just by the
happy birthday, Matthew Judon.
And yes, he was their passing game DB coach in 22. Reddick was there with him. So there is even though he didn't coach his position, there's still a link there. And I guarantee you that, Denard Wilson was a guy who, impacted people that weren't just at his position wherever he's been. I'd be pretty confident in saying that. So Reddick is more dynamic as a pass rusher right now, more production. So that would be my answer. But yeah, I've seen some of the Judon stuff.
I'd love to see. The thing with him is he only played 4 games last year before he got hurt. So, now granted, in those 4 games, he had 4 sacks. So you're talking about in 21 with New England, 12.5 sacks after he signed the big deal, 15.5 the next year. And then last year before he got hurt, he played 4 games and had 4 sacks. So the production has been there. I think the fair question is, all right, at age 32 coming off an injury, is Judon still going to be the same player?
No, that's a good point. Actually, technically, he was on a 17 sack pace last year. The interesting thing, too, with him is he had never had a double-digit sack year before he got to New England. He'd been a really nice player in Baltimore, averaging about 7 sacks or so a game during his 5 years of Baltimore. But and also, I'm a big fan of the Grand Valley State heritage for Matthew Judon. But
oh yeah,
I would just 3 years can make a lot of difference in this league. And also, I mean, I just don't know where the Patriots are on that stuff. But the Jets at this point, who knows where they're going to go? But I could see it getting to the point where, like, well, gosh, we need to,
Yeah.
we have to do something here and just move it. I mean, that's an all timer. I've never heard of that before.
Have you?
A guy who was
say,
traded somewhere and then never played a
never
snap.
played a snap.
That was traded out again.
I'm sure. And if I go back and think through it, like, there's got to be something that's similar. But I've never heard of somebody getting traded, and then by the time the next camp rolls around, it feels like the relationship between him and the new team is just totally destroyed. Like, he never even showed up for camp. Hasn't showed up for mini camp, didn't show up for training camp to this point, and has officially requested a trade.
Yeah, and is getting fined.
Yeah, he's getting fined
like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, someone lied to someone here, right? Like, someone either lied to someone or one or two people in a conversation just completely don't know how to communicate. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, and even like it's what, let's say you're trading for Hassan Reddick and you're Joe Douglas and you're talking to him and he says, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll play. I'd like to get another deal done, but I'll play until we get another deal done." It's one thing for like him to say that, but what about the agent? Because the agent's the one you're doing business with. The agent's the one you're negotiating with. And my guess is, I doubt very seriously the agent was ever like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. He'll play. Like, he's definitely going to play. We'll get the negotiating done, but he'll play. Don't worry about that." I mean, agents just don't typically commit to something like that one way or the other. So I'd be very surprised if that happened.
Yeah, it's seriously just bizarre. So I mean, I just don't know where it goes. I don't know where it goes. The Jets, by the way, have said they're not going to deal him. So Joe Douglas has come out and said, "We've informed Hassan we will not trade him. He's expected to be here with his teammates, continue to be fined per the CBA." I mean, I suppose, not a different situation, but like, I guess it reminds me a little bit of like Jonathan Taylor last year.
Yeah.
In terms of, hardball, and it finally eventually worked. So,
well, the interesting thing is, even before all this stuff, like, it feels like the Titans need another body at edge rusher, right? I mean,
sure.
Arden Key is going to be suspended. So even before that, you could have made the argument that they probably needed to add somebody else. I think after that, you certainly can make the argument they need to add somebody else. They haven't done it to this point, but would you, we've talked about Ngakoue, we've talked about Carl Lawson. Like, would you be better off if you're the Titans going that route? Or does this cause you to actually explore giving up a future asset to go get a guy like Hassan Reddick and then signing him to the deal after that? I mean, that's the other thing here, that if you're Carthon, you got to figure out whether or not it's worth it.
Maybe he's so mad at the Jets, he'd just come and just play this year. 14.25 is the salary this year.
Titans play the Jets week 2. That could be a heck of a day for Hassan
He'll
Reddick.
just come play a year
push-ups
for whoever deals for him, and then he'll go into free agency. Lawson keeps going around to different teams, and no one's signing him, which is
not a good sign.
Not great. And I just think Ngakoue has seen his better days too. So, I mean, I've been on the Lawson train. I'm just surprised there hasn't been a visit here.
Didn't Antonio Brown get traded from Pittsburgh to the Raiders, and then that debacle? Did he play for the Raiders like a game?
Yeah, I was going to say he did play a little bit, but it was close.
Yeah.
But of course his deal is there's also some stuff with him that's like nothing else ever.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel will join us coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on the Vols and fall camp to this point, with a season fastly approaching for Tennessee. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning. And we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our friend Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel, talking all things Tennessee Vols. Adam, good morning. How are you?
Pretty good. I was hoping I would hear more Creed. I know Rex loves it.
Oh, thank God.
Not you two.
Yes, you too.
A2 Spark A.
Higher was a great song. It just was.
It really was. There's a lot of
that's the only one though.
Lot of hatred coming from Rexrode.
Did you hear him though? He just said that's the only one.
Well, that's better than you. Would just
Well.
don't give him credit for anything. It's your best friend up there playing a concert tonight. You're not going.
I know. Get me a bootleg tape out there if you're going, please.
How many crucifix poses will there be on stage at
There'd be a lot.
concert?
Is that a Scott Staff
It'd be a
thing?
lot.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
absolutely.
nice.
Yes.
He's a sacrilegious too. Good to know. So he's spawn of Satan along with being a bad musician. I didn't realize.
He's under attack right now. Adam, fall scrimmage number 1 for Tennessee on Friday. Josh Heupel speaking after. Just in terms of the offense, from what you've seen, from what you've gathered around the program to this point, how big of a factor do you think the tight end position could be in the offense this year with Ethan Davis and other guys that they've got there with that room? And how much of a part of the offense do you expect them to be, particularly in the passing game?
Well, I mean, I'll take the glass half full phase, which, by the way, that's what we're in right now in camp. Every coach has elite athletes and just so much depth they don't know what to do with it. That's the phase of fall camp that we're in. I mean, Ethan Davis, I think, is going to be one of those. He'll be a down the field vertical type guy. He'll be the guy that fans feel like is the best tight end because he'll be the flashiest. He'll make catches down the field. Holden Stays, the Notre Dame transfer. I'm sort of in wait and see mode. He looks the part at times. You think he's, we thought he'd probably be the number 1 of those 3 guys, or maybe even 2 guys. You hear he's doing okay. So we'll see. He's the guy that we thought would fill in more in that Jacob Warren, maybe even some McAllen Castles, but for both of those guys. But I don't know if it's coming together as quickly. We'll see. The Miles Kitzelman is the one that I thought was just going to be sort of a throwaway blocking tight end. He's an Alabama transfer who Tennessee had a relationship back when he was in junior college a couple of years ago. He's been the bright spot of the 3, or maybe the surprise of the 3, because he's the best blocker of the 3. He can catch the ball much better than they thought that they thought they were going to get out of him. And so his stock is rising. I would say Holden Stays is sort of holding, and Ethan Davis is going up. I guess the bright side of that is you're probably going to have 3 guys, where in the last few years you've only had 2. But we'll see. Nico likes the tight ends. I think he's had a great rapport with Ethan Davis over the years. And so I would expect that would be the guy that would catch the most balls from him.
Okay, so you've got injuries at running back, which opens the door for a guy who has been injured, Deshaun Bishop, to play well in the scrimmage. So what's the situation there? Should he be taken seriously? Because Cam Seldon's hurt too, and I think he's really good when he comes back. Is there a concern with Dylan Sampson? Is Deshaun Bishop for real, Adam?
Yeah, I think they held Sampson out the other night, I think, for one of those typical, like, we know what he can do. We don't want to get him nicked up. Let's leave him out. I think that's all that was, because he was at practice.
So he's going to be in bubble wrap. He's going to be in bubble wrap until the season, basically.
Absolutely.
Probably
yeah,
makes sense.
There's a few guys that will do that. I mean, they're doing that with Brew McCoy to a large extent right now, too. I mean, Deshaun Bishop is the guy that you keep on thinking eventually he's going to be demoted or they're going to stop talking about him, but that hasn't happened. I mean, he came here as a walk-on. I know he was a great high school player, 2-time Mr. Football here at Carnes. But so you think eventually that, for spring practice and fall camp is when you brag on walk-ons for like a week or whatever, or you brag on freshmen or whatever, and then you sort of push them aside when the games get here. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. I mean, of the last 2 years of the 10 scrimmages that they've had in the spring and fall, I think Deshaun Bishop has been mentioned pretty highly in almost all the ones that he's played when he wasn't injured. I mean, Josh Heupel likes him. I think they think he's sort of a poor man's Jabari Small, if that makes any sense. A guy who pretty good pass blocker, good running between the tackles, not fast, not big, but better than both of those measurables. And so I think they just like his stability. Now, I think he'll probably be the number 2 early in the season. Whether he is when Cam Seldon comes back that's a different question. But I think what they love to have is Deshaun Bishop show that he can be a solid number 2, and then Seldon come back at full strength, and then maybe you have 3 guys there instead of 2, that you don't have to switch one out for the other. And Peyton Lewis looks fine. I mean, he's a freshman, so they love his skill set, but he still has a lot to learn. He didn't go through much in the spring because of his injury, so he's got to catch up.
Adam Sparks with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Adam, what's your sense for how the secondary is coming together with the Jordan Thomas injury taking place? And do you feel like, based on what you've seen and what you know of Boo Carter, that as a true freshman, he's ready for potentially the responsibility that they could give him filling that role with Thomas out?
Yeah, I mean, I think the cynic is going to be able to poke a lot of holes in the secondary first and foremost on this team, because yesterday we talked to Willie Martinez, and he's so high on this group, and it's like one of the best groups he's ever coached in his career, and he's been around for quite a while. I find that hard to believe. I mean, I think their corners are going to be fine. They added some transfers there. They have to choose between Boo Carter and Christian Harrison. Boo Carter is a phenomenal freshman. I think he'll probably eventually be that guy. Christian Harrison is the son of Rodney Harrison, the longtime NFL great for the Patriots. I mean, they like his progress, but if you had asked them in spring practice or even asked them a month ago about Christian Harrison, they would say, well, it's a solid special teams guy, sort of a 3-star level player. But now suddenly Jordan Thomas has gotten hurt. Christian Harrison is a better player. I just wonder about that. If they're talking him up a little too much. At safety, you've got sort of the situation we've had with defensive coordinator Tim Banks over the last few years, which is he has this reputation, and it's well earned, that he will play the oldest guy in the room, regardless of talent level. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's what he does. And right now, Will Brooks is getting a lot of the first-team reps at safety. Will Brooks is a longtime special teams guy. He's a walk-on, but he's a fifth-year senior, so he's been around a long time. If they start a walk-on at safety over Jacoby Thomas, who was brought in as a transfer from MTSU, who's an all-conference caliber player there, and John Slaughter, who they recruited a year or two ago. They thought he would be the guy eventually, and a couple other guys that they've groomed. Maybe it says something about those other players that they haven't developed well enough. Maybe it says just something about Tim Banks, that regardless of talent level, he's going to play the guy that's the closest to gray hair, because I think that's what he's got with Will Brooks. Nothing against Will Brooks, but it's taking Tim Banks' penchant for playing the older guy to like the extreme levels.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's the thing. Like this year, I mean, like even like Harrison or Charles or whoever could be better than Boo Carter, but the fans are like, no, just play Boo Carter, and then until you give up a big play or something like that. But I do. It does feel like it's a good year for that to change a little bit. Adam, anyone in the receiver group that any indications? We know the 2 guys who are going to start and play a lot. Any indications on anyone emerging from the pack for that 3rd spot?
I mean, what you see, you're saying Brew and Squirrel,
right? Right. I'm counting them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are high on Chaz Nimrod. I'm still in wait-and-see mode. But Chris Brazel is, I think, a guy. I mean, Chris Brazel's made a lot of acrobatic catches. They like what he does with his route running. I think he's probably going to be sort of an up and down guy. He's going to have a great game and then he's going to disappear. I think that's probably what you're going to get. They do have enough depth now that if they wanted to switch guys out and go with a hot hand, they can do that. And I'm starting to be a believer. I'm starting to think that they may actually do that this year, that they'll go beyond the 3 guys or 4 guys, and we may see waves of guys at least early in the season.
Adam, great stuff as always, man. Really appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll give you a live report from the Creed concert. Try to get Rexrode in the door tonight.
You can't wait. I'll be watching Facebook Live when he's there.
Thank you, Adam. Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel, our guest on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on what Adam had to say, your questions on Tennessee, as we are now just a couple of weeks away from them opening the season against Chattanooga. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Got some tickets to give away. A 4-pack of tickets to the PBR Nashville Stampede Days at Bridgestone Arena coming up on Friday, August 16th. Be caller 3-615-737-1025. Caller 3 will win a 4-pack of tickets to the PBR Nashville Stampede Days at Bridgestone Arena this Friday, August the 16th.
Got an hour and a half. Can't wait to see what other wonderful jams you've got in store for us, Keezer.
I mean, lucky for you, there's a long list.
Yeah.
There's a long catalog they got.
I mean, I'm sure they made some other songs that went on their dumb albums. Can't wait.
There's a song called My Own Prison, so this is kind of what we're dealing with, I guess.
Rexrode's Own Prison.
That would
Yeah,
be
that's right.
That would be the fitting song title. Can't wait to torment Robby with Beatles Day. It's going to be amazing.
Then we can all collectively realize how much they suck.
Yeah.
Then we can use Maxwell's Silver Hammer and get rid of all the problems.
That's a great jam. Yes, we can revisit one of the all-time worst takes in music history. Robbie's take on the Beatles.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. As Sparks pointed out in the last segment, I did, of course, Tennessee had their scrimmage Friday night, which nobody actually gets to watch. So it's like just a bunch of
everything was good though.
Everything was good.
Everything was
like
good.
They went through. I mean, Heupel did kind of lay out the format, and they went through special teams at the first part, and they set up short yardage drills and all this other stuff. But he basically said, we just let them play, and they kind of built in some TV timeouts with there's iPads on the sideline this year that people can look at, and they built in some situations to test out the new in-game headsets with all that stuff going on. So some changes coming to college football. But I was listening to Heupel Friday night, and I got to the end of it. I was like, well, man, if everything he just said that happened in the scrimmage happens in the regular season, Tennessee's going to be pretty darn good. It's positive talking season in college football.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Everything is great. Everything is awesome. Everything is awesome. But that's the thing. And there was some, I will say, the highlight of Nico throwing the TD to Ethan Davis. I was like, oh boy, that looks like, and I think Sparks hit it exactly right. He's a big play guy. And he's the guy, like, everybody wants to see him play every snap because it's like, no, Ethan Davis. But there's other things to tight end.
Yeah.
Not that he can't do them, but seems like some of those other guys are going to need to be on the field a bit. But I think Ethan Davis will probably make some loud plays this year and eventually could be a really good player.
Well, look, they put out some clips. Not that this is anything that's new information, but, I mean, they put out some clips of a few throws that Nico has made where you're just like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can see it.
Oh, his throws for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. So that part of it's not really a huge surprise. It is going to be fascinating, that last part of what Sparks said. Are they actually getting into a rotation with the receivers this year? I mean, we know Squirrel and Brew McCoy are going to play a lot. I think Brazel's probably pretty clearly the third guy right now. But are they going to go 5 or 6 deep? I mean, Sparks seems to think they might actually do it. So I'm interested to see how that plays out, particularly early in the year.
Yeah, I'm going to believe when I see mode on that one, but it makes sense. I mean, that's the thing is, obviously, when you're in tempo, when you're in a drive,
it's hard to sub.
I mean, you got the wide split, so if you got somebody split on your sideline, you could quickly swap somebody in. But yeah, you're going with those guys. But I mean, to me, if you actually can like switch up series, and why not a little bit fresher guys? I mean, that could be a benefit. I still think I think the best case scenario would still be they do still have that rotation of 3 to 4. It's because Brazel is so good, and then because whoever it is, I still have this Deontay Thornton thing where it's like, man, I swear that guy should be good. Rather than, well, there's 4 guys here that are so close and they're all pretty good, so we'll keep playing all of them. You want Brazel is the guy who, because he was very good at Tulane, and he's the guy who I think would be best for them to emerge and take that, and then them do it more like they've done it.
The preseason poll out, Tennessee at number 15. So 15 in the coaches poll, 15 in the AP poll.
Yep.
LSU ahead of them in both, by the way. So
yeah, saw that.
Interesting stuff there. But the first ranked game they'll have is NC State. NC State coming in, I believe, at 24
Yeah.
in the AP poll. So an early top 25 matchup for Tennessee coming up. Again, they got Chattanooga in a couple of weeks here. And then that NC State game, a lot of people are going to be watching that one. It's going to be nationally televised, obviously. Nico, that's kind of his first big test as a starter coming up. So I'm really interested to see how that goes. Now, one thing that, some people in Knoxville have been talking about is this is a little bit of a different year kind of behind Nico than they've had the last couple. I mean, when Hooker was the quarterback, you had Milton behind him. When Milton was the quarterback, you had Nico behind him. There's Merklander, who is a freshman, and we've not really seen what he brings to the table yet. And then there's Gaston Moore, who feels like he's been in college football since Peyton Manning. So
Yeah.
I don't know that you want Gaston Moore on the field and on meaningful snaps, but obviously you don't want Nico going down. If he does, for even if it's half a game or a game, really interested to see how backup quarterback plays out. And again, if you heard Heupel speak the other night, they're in good shape.
No.
They both look really
sure,
good.
everything's fine. Well, if that were to happen, it's Gaston Moore. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, they have full trust in his ability to run the offense. He has limitations, obviously, but Nico talked when I was down there, whenever that was, the week before last, I guess, about how much he's leaned on him in learning this offense. So I think that's the clear answer is it's him. If it's like a long-term thing, then maybe, then
Probably
okay,
Merklinger
you
at
go to
that
the
point.
freshman and just live with some of the ups and downs, and yeah, maybe you're better off long-term. So, but yeah, that's one of those spots where you don't want to lose anybody. I still think on the offensive line, they're incredibly thin. Like their backups, I mean, they can't really afford to lose any of those key guys. They're, like you got Dane Davis as a backup, and he has started some, he's played some, but it's thin. There's some young guys in there, and maybe some of them are going to be good. It's like defensive backs, like maybe some of them are finally going to be ready to be good for them, but right now it looks like kind of precarious depth situation there.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode throwing the question out there. Did we just witness the greatest Olympics of all time? We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game. Hey, Robbie Stanley here. Football is approaching, and it's time to get in on the action early this season. What are your favorite NFL futures bets? There's a lot of options available for you, like player props, passing yards, touchdowns, rushing and receiving totals, and a whole lot more. Also, great team markets, like to make the playoffs, win the division, Super Bowl matchups, and you can parlay together different picks for even bigger payouts. I told you yesterday, and I'm sticking by it, I think Calvin Ridley goes over this year on receiving yards. I really like what I've seen from him to this point, but you can take it any way you want to take it. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. There's no better place to get ready for football season than on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and official sports betting partner of the NFL. Just visit FanDuel.com/Rob to sign up today. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is not withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Check out Nashville's Best Deal of the Week, Soar Adventure Tower, where there's adventure for everyone of all ages. Get a $100 gift card for just $50. And book family fun, your next office outing, or a birthday party. Soar Adventure Tower is 4 levels of fun with easy to difficult obstacles to choose from, plus an 18-hole mini golf course as well. Again, get a $100 gift card for just $50 now at thegamenashville.com/deals while supplies last. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up here at 7:45. John McClain will be with us at 8 o'clock from HoustonTexans.com. We'll get into all things NFL with him, so looking forward to that. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode throwing the question out there. Did we just witness the greatest Olympics of all time? By the way, United States wins the Olympic medal count, tied with China for 40 gold medals, which is the most gold medals in the competition. So United States winning the overall medal count, tied with China with 40 gold medals apiece for the top count there. What did you make as a whole just of these Olympics? And no, the ratings were great. I thought the action was really good. Obviously, I think the highlight was the last 2 games of the men's basketball tournament were just unbelievable. With Serbia, the France, by the way, and I know people accuse you of bringing up Jared a lot. I'm going to do it right now.
Uh-oh.
Did you see his take where
No.
the other day that cemented Steph Curry as an all-time great? That was it. Before that, didn't know. But the other day, cemented Steph Curry as an all-time great. Good to know.
Wow, man. Yeah, he needs to stay away from the basketball takes, man. I did not hear that. And by the way, that's the first time he's come up. It's 7:36, and I did not bring him up. 7:33. Sorry, my laptop's 3.
I take full
minutes fast.
responsibility for this.
That's an interesting one.
Hey, but
we
Brennan
finally know he's good.
Rexrode, remember? That was one of his takes.
What was that?
You don't remember? Your
No.
own son's take.
What?
He said he was one of the 3 best players of all time.
Okay.
Right, but what he's saying is that
Cemented,
The
though.
other way-
Brennan already thought it too.
He's just saying all-time great.
Yeah.
we all know he's an all-time great.
Okay, I'm just setting the standard.
What he's saying is Jared's saying that just now he earned that. That's ridiculous. He already has
Very
been
much
an all-time
so.
great. Yes.
But that's the standard.
Yeah. So that actually goes into my rant, somewhat related. So thanks for that. More fuel for that. But not about Jared. It's about basketball and the Olympics. Is this the greatest Olympics? It's very subjective.
It is.
Of course, just like music. I mean, there's people on the text line telling me the Beatles and Stones suck. Hey, some people are
You're welcome.
have ear problems. Someone texted me and said, "Show me on the doll where Creed hurt you." I said, "The ears." See, right here. Right here, see? That's part of the doll. The ears. That's where I was hurt. I think these have a case as the best Olympics ever. Like you said, the basketball is amazing. The swimming, I mean, the track, and there's great swimming, track, things like that at every Olympics. I think some of this, that's the thing. This one, we throw in some break dancing, which controversial. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. I mean, I was here for it all the way. And
I told you,
the Australian breaker is still like, people are still upset about. I did like her little kangaroo hop. She was terrible, but I love the kangaroo hop. That was cool. Yep. I mean, so they throw in some sports that were fun. I just thought, the venues in Paris and what they did was pretty amazing. It's also, like, for me, I don't know if anything ever tops 84. I like Carl Lewis and Mary Lou Retton. Like, that's
pre-anthem
just,
Carl Lewis. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was just an American hero, not someone trying to sing the anthem. Yes. Even, like, Edwin Moses was still in those Olympics. I mean, like, there's a lot of from those that will, and again, I think sometimes the best Olympics ever, it's kind of like a lot of things with sports. It's your age too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like for me, that's like sports is bigger than life kind of age. But you think about what we've gone through. I mean, look, I was at Rio covering it, and there's a lot of amazing stuff there to cover, including Simone Biles, the GOAT, which is another part of this being the arguably best Olympics ever. But it was, it wasn't great. And some of what happens with some of these cities is like they take all these things and there's all these promises and they don't follow through. Yep. And it's kind of, there's a lot to not like about that Olympics. Then you have like the COVID Olympics a year later, and it's, like just like everything with sports, it wasn't the same kind of feel, So it's been a long time. I mean, I think 2012 was an amazing Olympics too. And I'm just talking summer Olympics too. Some people like the Winter Olympics better.
That's the thing. Like,
I can make a case
my
for
favorite
that.
Olympics of all time is the 2010 Winter Olympics, but it's purely because of the hockey. But
yeah,
that's what it was.
That gold medal game was insane. So, but I think it was a great Olympics. That's the thing, and it was. I do feel like it. I was enthralled every day with something, and it feels like we've got it back to what it should be, more what it should be. And now you go into LA. It's been a long time since we've had Olympics in this country, and already excited for that. And now we wait.
Last time was, I guess, Salt Lake City,
Utah.
right? 02? Yeah.
Yes.
And then before that, Atlanta.
Right. And that's another, Atlanta was, there's a lot about Atlanta that was amazing, but also you had the bombing and everything, so, but I think, I think this one was really good. Really, really good.
I didn't know how I would like it heading into the Olympics in terms of this specific sports format. And I came out of the other side of it, not being a huge fan of it. I think we can do away with 3-on-3 basketball. Like, we've got regular basketball, men's and women's, which is great. Enjoyed all that. The 3-on-3 stuff, I was like, all right, this is stupid. It's just dumb.
Yeah. I'm like, in general, I'm always here for more basketball, but I'm with you. I found myself turning away. Like, I didn't find myself all that interested in it, And the thing about the basketball is, you mentioned the two men's games. The women's final was also amazing. And that has taken so long for the rest of the world to catch up with the U.S. women's team. And now you've got, like Gabby Williams doesn't play in the WNBA because she makes more money playing in Europe, but she was unbelievable for France. That's going to get better and better. And I said it the other day, at this point, I don't know what the men's team is in 28, but I look at France and what Wemby could be. Yeah. I think France might be the favorite to win the gold in LA in 28. I mean, which to me, it's just so fun to think about what that tournament could be by then. And it means so much to these guys. That's what I love. Guys making hundreds of millions of dollars, and look how much it meant to them when they were out there competing.
I mean, and there's going to be more sports added. Like, I think by the time LA comes around, flag football is going to be a part of it. So
interesting.
I mean, number one, we ought to be pretty good at flag football. I'm just saying.
You would think,
You would think that would be a pretty good gold medal for us, but we'll see. But new sports getting added all the time. Like, I'm a big golf guy. Olympic golf is kind of a new thing. I just, it was great to see Scotty Scheffler win it and kind of like how dramatic it was.
That was cool.
I still don't know that I'm used to Olympic golf at this point, but I guess I'm okay with it. But are we getting to the point where maybe there's too much? Like, should we cap off the number of sports that are in this thing? Because it feels like we're getting more and more each Olympics. Is that good or bad? Do you think we've reached the point where it's the sweet spot?
Yeah, that's a good question. The thing is, I'm with you on 3-on-3 and like the rock climbing. Yeah, I mean, I just felt like I was watching
for a minute. Yeah,
I was watching like American Gladiators or something.
Yeah,
I miss baseball. I'd like to bring baseball back. Yeah. I used to love the Olympic baseball, and the U.S. and Cuba had some, great. So that I would vote for that to come back. But yeah, that's a fair point. There is a lot. There's a lot more. It feels like, for sure. So they need to. And also, I like this Olympics. I like that Snoop Dogg and Flavor Flav are the wholesome hosts of America.
Did you see Snoop Dogg's pin that he was passing around?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's unreal.
I would go see Creed for 5 minutes to get that pin. I would do it.
They were throwing the question out there yesterday on the NFL Network, like, who, if you could pick a football player to be a flag bearer next to the Olympics, who would it be? I mean, my answer is clearly Jameis Winston, but like, I am interested to see how that goes. Like, who all's involved? Is Michael Phelps going to be involved next time out? It's going to be fun to see.
I mean, right now, wouldn't you say the most likely person to do that would be Patrick Mahomes?
Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
But who knows by then? By then, and maybe Will Levis will be the best QB in the NFL, and he'll be the flag bearer. We don't know. You don't know that it's not happening.
Maybe. I mean, we're getting sent some commercials that Will Levis is doing on the text line with Hellman's mayonnaise right now. So A lot of stuff going on there.
Okay.
The Matt Pearson, break dancing in the Olympics is stupid. I'm just saying. I'm cool with trying some stuff out every now and then. I do worry about getting to the point where there's like too much stuff in there, where it's just hard to really keep up with it all if you're adding 1,000 sports every time. I think like this was the sweet spot. I know flag football is coming in, but I don't really want to see a whole lot more added.
It's
to
not
the
going to be
Olympics.
at the next one in the summertime. I don't know if you saw that.
Flag football's not.
No, breakdancing. They're not.
Oh, is that,
okay.
they're not renewing it?
They're not including it.
It's a
in
one-time
one-time
thing?
thing?
Oh, man.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Sorry, Joe.
I have to go watch Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo and not watch it in the Olympics then. Great sequel.
42 years ago today, according to Big Joe Dubin, Fast Times at Ridgemont High released.
One of my top 10 all-time movies of all time, I think.
What?
Top 10? I think so. What? You don't think so?
No, I don't know what it is. I was saying, what? Like, what is that?
Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Nope. Never heard of it.
He's a youngin.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's old. I'll give you that. But yeah, it's a great one, man. It's a great one. Cameron Crowe. Cameron Crowe went undercover at a high school because he was a kid who wrote for Rolling Stone. Have you ever seen the movie Almost Famous? You ever seen Almost Famous?
Nope.
Dude, have you seen Almost Famous?
Yes.
That's a great movie. That's a 2000s movie you should know. That real life guy went undercover at a high school for a year, wrote a book about it. It became Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
615-737-1025, our phone number. 615-737-1025. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
I'm going to give Steph number one. It's not just this fourth one, which is a miracle. He's literally the only person on planet Earth for whom that's a good look. But it is also the stakes. The Team USA winning the gold medal is what is expected. So it will not be remembered the way some of those others were. But think about the other side. Think about if we don't win that game. Think about the reaction if Team USA loses that day. And we were in significant jeopardy of doing just that. And so for that reason, and because of the spectacular nature of that flurry, capped off by that fourth one, which again is an absolutely terrible shot for every other person in the world, I put that one at number one. I put that as the number one most memorable moment. It is one you will never forget.
This is Scott Stapp from Creed, and you're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 The Game.
It is time for the Rex Rant, Robby and Rexrode. Take your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode's rant of the day. Joseph, as you plug in your computer laptop, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I thought we were getting into an intro without hearing Creed. Hearing Scott Stapp's voice or
Luckily
music.
for you,
But nope.
Geezer's prepared.
We're going to have some days, and I'm going to hold you to account. I just want you to know. Also, you got to watch. I mean, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, yes. You know, it's a great movie, but almost famous. You should know that one. Okay. So we heard Mike Greenberg there, and I gotta go off on that one, man. And understand, I love Steph Curry. I'm a huge Steph Curry fan. I make no apologies about it. I'm a Golden State Warriors fan. This is, my kid got me into that, but I love them and Steph, and he's an all-time great. And Isaiah Thomas is my favorite athlete of all time. And I'm willing to say, I think I've said it before, but I'll say it if I haven't, or I'll repeat it. Steph Curry is the best little man to play basketball. I mean, to me, it's like under 6'4", 6'5". He's the best to ever play the game. That was Isaiah before Steph. He's taken that over at some point along the way here. But, dude, that shot was with 35 seconds left, and the United States was up 6. If he misses that shot, if he airballs that shot, they're going to still win the game. Yep. I mean, that cannot be the most memorable shot in basketball history.
No.
Now, the flurry and what he did in the two games, and that was the craziest of the shots because it was just like a total heat check. What the hell? Throw it up. Like if they were up 1 or if they were tied or whatever, and that wins the game with that shot, okay, then we can talk.
Yeah.
They were up 6 with 30 seconds left. Like that cannot possibly be the biggest, the greatest shot ever. By the way, for anybody who wonders, I saw his whole list. So his list of top 5 was Chris Jenkins for Villanova, beating North Carolina and Houston in the Final Four. I was courtside for that one.
Pretty good.
Lost my mind. Ray Allen, your guy,
My
buzzer
beloved Miami
beater, it saved the Miami Heat in that finals. That's worth it. My number one, and a guy I can't stand, and if Vingan's listening, he just loves this. But I think Christian Laettner is the most memorable shot in basketball history. And again, it's like, especially if you were watching at the time, it's kind of wild to think about it. But Kentucky was this little group of upstarts, and you're rooting for the little underdog, plucky Kentucky Wildcats, and they have them beat. And it's the whole thing. It's the Grant Hill baseball pass to him, and then it's the shot on a night that he did not miss any shots he took all night in the Spectrum in Philadelphia. That's my number one. Jordan over Elo is his number 2. That is a great one. I mean, that's, the Cavs were better than the Bulls then. The Bulls got to get to the Pistons that year because of that incredible shot to win the series. Got their butts kicked by the Pistons. But still.
I knew that was coming.
But still, that was a legendary shot. And, it accelerated their timeline, really, of trying to finally get to, be, in the company of champions. And then he goes Steph number 1. That's just ridiculous. I mean, a montage of stuff. There was a Steph shot like to beat like the Oklahoma City Thunder from like just inside half court.
Oh, I remember that one.
I mean, like then many in the playoffs, and again, his whole flurry in the last 2 games, it was special. It does take him to another level, although he was already an all-time great. Like, I mean, he's got the rings to prove it. He just destroyed the Boston Celtics just 2 years ago as Finals MVP to win his 4th ring. I think that means something. He's probably an all-time great already.
Probably so.
But this was an all-time prisoner of the moment situation for Mike Greenberg. Like, I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it at times. Something amazing happens, and we immediately say, is that the greatest ever? We just had the segment. Was that the greatest Olympics ever? But this is like prisoner of the moment, and you have to listen to Creed.
Well said.
Thank you.
Well said. No, look, the shot was great. I mean, if you're talking degree of difficulty, I mean, go find a bunch of Steph makes shots like that all the time. So go find, you can make a montage of Steph Curry degree of difficulty shots that are probably head and shoulders above anybody else, which is why, I mean, among many reasons, he's the greatest shooter in the history of the game. It's really not even close. Like I told you last week, it's gotten to the point with him where if he's got a wide open 3, it's like a layup. Like I just assume it's going in.
Yeah.
Which you forget sometimes it's a 3-point shot. And if you shoot 40%, you're elite.
Right.
It's shooting a 3-pointer. It feels like all of his go in. So he's the greatest shooter of all time. But I'm with you. Like it can't be the greatest shot of all time when you factor in that they were up 6. I understand think about the other side. What if they would have lost and the flurry and all that stuff? But it is not the greatest, most memorable shot of all time.
It was an amazing moment because it ended it, and he did the nap thing,
Sure.
put him to sleep, and Carmelo's losing his mind. Like the whole place is up for grabs, right? So it was an amazing cap to the whole thing, to 4 straight from him. France gets it down to a single possession game, and he just buries him with 4 straight. And that being the 4th straight was amazing moment. But yeah, it's like you can't, like a shot to be called something like that has to be it's got to be a go-ahead shot or a tying shot or something, right?
What about
like Ray Allen's? That Ray Allen's tied it, right?
Ray Allen's tied it. Sent
Yeah.
it to overtime.
Yes.
Yeah. What about the Jordan push-off? That in there? 98?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think some people would probably, and I'm glad you correctly called it the Jordan push-off on Brian Russell. They did not call it. Yeah, that happens.
That's what he always said.
That happens sometimes. Yeah, that's true. I mean, hey, was there any interference in that Saints-Rams game?
Did they call it?
No one called it, so I guess not. Jacobs got Shane Foster. See, like there's a great shooting display.
Oh,
Shane Foster against Mississippi State, right? Like insane. Those are some of the best things in basketball when a shooter just gets going and it's going to go in no matter what. And
Ray Allen shot
with Steph more than anyone.
Top 3 sports moment of my life. Loved it.
Ray Allen
slid across the floor. Yep.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Just fired up.
Oh, the Kawhi shot. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's going
bouncing around and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of great contenders.
615-737-1025. Our phone number 615-737-1025. We'll be joined by John McClain from HoustonTexans.com coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans, Texans, all things NFL. Robby and Rexrode 1025-1063. The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning, talking all things NFL. And to help us do that, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend John McClain from HoustonTexans.com. John also joins Chase and Big Joe every Wednesday morning at 9:30. John, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Robby and Joe. How are y'all?
We are really great. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. John, let's start with the Texans. How has Stephon Diggs fit into this point? What have you heard and seen about just the way that he's fitting in and the weapons that C.J. Stroud has at his disposal on offense this year? How electric do you think that offense can be?
Well, first of all, let me start with Diggs. There have been two instances in which people not here, not at practice, or not at the game have roasted him for, they say, doing the same things he did in Buffalo. One of them was on the sideline in which he hadn't been in the game, and Stroud came over and he was talking to Stroud about what he'd seen. And he does this all the time in practice, almost like helps coach him. It's not about him individually. And Stroud and Diggs have become really close. They worked out all over the world. At one point, they were in Paris, showed him working out at a high school. And Diggs has been really good. And when he went to Minnesota and Buffalo, he was great. There were no issues. And then the issues, of course, when he wanted the ball and he didn't feel like he was getting it enough. And another one was a fight in which Diggs reached in to pull a guy out, and it got out. Diggs doing the same thing he did in Buffalo. He might, but he hasn't been so far. And they've got really explosive receivers if they can keep them healthy. Their offense, the Joe Mixon been out a long time. He's the starting running back. Damian Pierce is number 2. The only new starting job they have that was in question going into camp was left guard, and that's been solidified by a former first-round pick, Kenyon Green. And all the questions are on defense because Texas played that last-place schedule last season, took advantage of it. You know, the AFC South played the NFC South, worst division in football. Their crossover game was Arizona here. Now they're playing a first-place schedule, 5 division champions, crossover games at Dallas, 11 games against teams that had winning records, a murderer's row of quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Tua Tagovailoa, the division quarterbacks. Plus, they're going to get Caleb Williams and probably Drake May later in the season. I think they play at Minnesota too early for us to see the Texans against J.J. McCarthy. But the only one they won't play against is Daniels at Washington. And so they've got their hands full on defense. They signed 15 unrestricted free agents on defense. They used 5 of their 9 draft choices on defense. They re-signed 5 of their defensive free agents because they know this defense has got to be a whole lot better.
So, John, I'm hoping you can put into context this Hassan Reddick situation because I can't remember anything exactly like this. What as you look at that, how do you assess it? Who do you blame?
In 2019, Bill O'Brien, the former Texans head coach and GM, traded 2 1s and a 2 for left tackle Laramie Tunsil. And they got some other peripheral pieces. None of them were any good. And Laramie's been really good, but his contract, he needed a new contract. And they didn't have it done ahead of time. And they had to make him the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. And so, but they got it done because they knew coming in he was going to cost a lot of money. Now, Hassan Reddick's not trying to be the highest paid. We haven't seen any numbers that have leaked out. I haven't. But in that situation, you run the risk of a guy holding out. His fines, he's been fined almost $2 million. You know, when you're on your rookie contract, the fines can be forgiven. When you are on a second or more contract, they cannot. So he's going to have that money coming out of his pay when he eventually agrees to get a deal done. I'm guessing right before regular season. they'll sweeten the pot. He'll come in. Remember, they don't start getting paid the big game checks till the week before the season. That's why you see a lot of these deals done. But it definitely is strange, and I'm sure the Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders are loving it because they don't want him to go up against him because he's been one of the top 5 pass rushers since 2020.
John, how do you see the CD Lamb situation playing out in Dallas? He's not been in camp. Jerry Jones saying last week that there's really no urgency to get it done. Also, they've got the Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott situation to figure out too. But what do you make of what's going on with the Cowboys and CD Lamb?
Well, Parsons will be next year, and I think they'll get Lamb done. The Cowboys always have problems with their big contracts. They wait and they wait and they wait. It's like that old Fram Oilfield commercial, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. And it would always have been cheaper for them to do it sooner. They admitted they made a mistake with Dak Prescott coming off his rookie contract and when they waited too long. So they'll get the Lamb deal done. I expect it'll be when the big game checks start in 2 weeks. And then some point they'll get Prescott done. Jerry Jones is 81 years old. He doesn't want to start over with another quarterback. Trey Lance isn't the answer. Cooper Rush isn't the answer. So he's going to pay Dak Prescott more money than any player in NFL history, when if he'd done it before, it would have been cheaper because the price of doing business goes up. And since he can't be franchised, he's got Jerry by the footballs and he's squeezing hard.
Well, let's stick with the theme. Brandon Ayuk and the Niners, John. I just feel like the Niners have to win it all this year. They have to win it all this year. I don't see, unless you've got a situation, maybe they feel like they could get Amari Cooper back from Cleveland and plug him in or something, why this makes any sense where they are as a franchise.
I think one thing, since they traded for Christian McCaffrey, they have run the ball a higher percentage of the time than any team in the league. The running game is really, really important in Kyle Shanahan's offense. So therefore, they took care of Deebo Samuel. They've got these tight end. They've got the running back, and the quarterback is coming up. I think they want to get one more year out of Ayuk. And then they trade him. And then Pearsall from Florida, their number 1 pick this year, he would step in. Or I would be more inclined to keep Ayuk over Deebo Samuels because Deebo's got a lot of mileage on him because he runs and he catches so much. But I'm guessing they're looking at it, and I don't know how they get this done. They've found a way to get everybody else paid. And after this season, they're going to have to pay Purdy. And I'm feeling like Ayuk wants so much money, they will sweeten the pot, do something to give him, to pacify him, because guys don't want to miss time. He's accumulating fines by being out. They'll do something to make him happy for this year, and then he'll be gone. They can't afford to give up a guy like Brandon Ayuk when you got to win the Super Bowl.
John, how do you view the AFC South this season? We know the Texans are going to be the favorite, and deservedly so, but you've got question marks in Anthony Richardson and Will Levis and Indy, and here in Nashville, Trevor Lawrence signs the big deal in Jacksonville. How do you view this division heading into the year?
I think every team in the league that was in last place last year, the head coaches are using the Texans as an example of what can happen. This time last year, I picked them to win 6 games. They started 0-2. I thought, oh, my God, why didn't I pick them to win 3 again? And then all of a sudden, it just took off. And part of it was the schedule. And it was interesting because they had a first-year head coach, first-year coordinator, play caller, first-year quarterback coach, and, of course, rookie quarterback. And it just all came together. And that last place schedule helps. It should help the Titans as well. And I'll guarantee you behind the scenes, they're talking about what happened with the Texans, and it can happen to us too. And the key, of course, is Levis. I think Rand Cawthorn, with all the money he had to spend, he spent it wisely. When I look at their offense now compared to 2 years ago, man, what a difference that it's made. It's got to start up front. And, of course, they have one of the best offensive line coaches in history in Bill Callahan, who is great for advice for his son. And his son's going to be asking for it because he's a first-time head coach. He's a first-time play caller. So Can they go worst to first? I saw on the internet yesterday the 33rd team, and they have former NFL people working for them. The team's most likely to go from worst to first. Of course, Cincinnati is going to be number one because Joe Burrow is the healthiest. And they had, I believe, the Titans number two. I thought they might have the Bears higher, and they had them like seventh, and I agree. It's a lot of pressure to put on a rookie quarterback. At this time last year, C.J. Stroud hadn't even been named the starter. We knew he would start, and we were broadcasting and writing it, but D'Amico Ryans wouldn't admit it till a week before the season started, where they have anointed him as the star since before he was drafted, and that is a lot of pressure put on a quarterback who's going to play on windy days. He's going to play on snowy days. One of the reasons they've never had a quarterback throw for 30 touchdowns in Chicago is where the stadium's located. It's so windy. Cleveland's only had one 4,000-yard passer in their history because of where the stadium's located. Both of them are on Great Lakes. Even when it's warm, the wind blows, and that's why they got to run the ball. And so I think Cincinnati won, and why not the Titans trying to close that gap. This time last year, everybody was picking the Jaguars, including me. I bet $100 on my talk show in Houston to one of the hosts. He said the Jaguars of the field. I said the Jaguars. I'll take that in a minute. I paid up because I never saw that happening. That's one of the things that makes the NFL so interesting is because of that, because of the development of young quarterbacks like Will Levis. Brian Callahan's got to see what he can do. If he doesn't think he can be the franchise quarterback, then he's got to tell Rand, okay, we got to do something to get a franchise quarterback, and it's going to be difficult. So hopefully Levis, that has everything you want in a quarterback, will be able to take advantage of the situation. I hope DeAndre Hopkins gets back sooner rather than later because he's one of my all-time favorite players. And you'd love to see Burks develop. And for everybody that's down on Burks, this time last year we said, well, Nico Collins, he flashes in camp and in practice, but, man, he's hurt too much, and he just hadn't done anything. This season's make or break. Then they get a quarterback in there who can throw the ball, and all of a sudden he was fantastic, got a new contract. And I'm not saying that'll happen to Burks. I'm just saying it could happen.
Okay, I got a similar one for you, John. No wager, though. Let's take this rookie class of quarterbacks becoming the best of them. Caleb Williams or the field?
Ooh, that's a great one because I hear all these NFL experts on NFL Network and ESPN and Fox and all of them going on and on about Caleb Williams. Like if Caleb Williams had come out last year, he would have been the first overall pick. But so many number one picks don't pan out, and where he plays is going to be difficult. I'm going to say the field.
I like it.
Interesting.
John, really appreciate your time this morning. We'll be listening tomorrow on Chase and Big Joe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being with us.
Roddy, Joe, my pleasure. Thank you guys very much. Anytime.
Absolutely. John McClain, our guest on Robby and Rexrode from HoustonTexans.com. The legendary John McClain. We'll take your thoughts on what John had to say on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, The Game. What do you make of what's going on with the Cowboys and CD Lamb?
Well, Parsons will be next year, and I think they'll get Lamb done. The Cowboys always have problems with their big contracts. They wait and they wait and they wait. It's like that old Fram Oilfield commercial, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. And it would always have been cheaper for them to do it sooner. They admitted they made a mistake with Dak Prescott coming off his rookie contract when they waited too long. So they'll get the Lamb deal done. I expect it'll be when the big game checks start in 2 weeks. And then at some point they'll get Prescott done. Jerry Jones is 81 years old. He doesn't want to start over with another quarterback. Trey Lance isn't the answer. Cooper Rush isn't the answer. So he's going to pay Dak Prescott more money than any player in NFL history. When if he'd done it before, it would have been cheaper because the price of doing business goes up. And since he can't be franchised, he's got Jerry by the footballs and he's squeezing hard.
That was John McClain within the last segment, illustrating in a way that only he can. Lovely stuff from John McClain.
Sounds painful.
It does. Tune in to 94.9 The Fan today as the Sounds take on Durham. Pregame at 5:20, first at 5:35. Coverage also available on the 94.9 The Fan app and at 949thefan.com. Sounds baseball presented by Twin Peaks, Family Leisure, 5 Points Roofing, Caudle Vet Clinic, and Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Now, Joe, before we fully react to what John McClain had to say, we got to get to this Will Levis commercial.
Oh, my goodness.
So
legend.
The Will Levis commercial from Hellman's Mayonnaise is making the rounds on the internet right now. And for those who haven't seen it, it's basically just a 40-second ad advertising, I guess, his own cologne. It's Parfum de Mayonnaise, Daily Supply Limited, if you're interested. But Will Levis kind of just wandering around here at the Titans facility in this commercial, at times shirtless, at times eating mayonnaise on a sandwich, at times eating mayonnaise from the jar. Very good acting skills going on from Will Levis here. It's pretty incredible. This is one of the I don't even know quite the right word to describe this commercial, but it's awesome.
It's
Will Levis is leaning in to the mayonnaise.
It is fantastic. The finger dip into the mayonnaise.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Actually he just straight up brings the Hellman's jar to his mouth at one point. Then he's sitting there eating a piece of bread slathered in mayonnaise, and it's a parfum to mayonnaise. I'm still trying to figure out, is this actually a product they're marketing?
I mean, there's
like,
a bottle.
Is Hellman's actually
Will Levis number
marketing
8?
And yeah, but the commercial is amazing. I dare anyone to do anything but laugh and tip the cap on this. I dare you.
Oh, somebody's gonna be mad.
I mean, you have to be someone completely devoid of sense of humor or a brain.
Why is he not in the film room?
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
Making these commercials, don't even know if he's a quarterback yet.
That's
he's
the thing.
in the film room.
Well, there you go. You just hit the point right there. Will Levis might get $0.25 here in not too long. Also, he might be resigned to being a backup QB in the NFL by November.
Yeah.
Okay. Make your money. Lean in on this stuff. Brilliant, man. I love it's great idea on their part, and good for him, man. Have fun. Have fun with it. I love it.
We need more athletes around here with our local professional sports teams to have some personality to them. And I am 100% okay with QB1 having some personality to him. Now, I get it. Like if he sucks this year, this will eventually come back up and be like, look at this idiot out here making mayonnaise commercials instead of practicing football. Maybe you could throw it to the right team if he wasn't making these commercials. And
why don't you try some Dukes, loser?
Yeah, I get all that.
I will say, I wish you would have gone Dukes. But hey, it's fine. Hellman's is fine.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm all for it. If you see the commercial, it's pretty hilarious.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
No, it is absolutely fantastic. Who's the let's take 2 to 6 guy out of the equation. Who among all the folks here would be most likely who speaks into a microphone would be most likely to have an issue with this commercial?
I don't know. If you're taking 2 to 6 out of it.
Yeah, I know. That's sort of he's not. I really hope he, has a semblance of a sense of humor. You know who my pick is?
Who's that?
Say Big Joe. I can see Big Joe be like, hey, get in there and hit the weights, kid. What are we doing here? I dare you, Big Joe.
Maybe so.
I hope not.
This again brings up another great situation. Can you imagine the hype man that Jameis Winston could have been for Will Levis in this mayonnaise commercial? I always go back to Jameis. Titans blew a huge opportunity.
Jameis could have maybe had gotten into it with like a mustard mayonnaise, which is the best condiment or something like that. There's so many possibilities.
Mark from Ashland City says, yes, it's real. And yes, I ordered it. And has sent us the receipt of the Will Levis number 8 Parfum de Mayonnaise.
Oh, man.
On the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I haven't worn cologne in a long time. I'm going back to like Dracar Noir in the 90s. I might have to check out the Parfum de Mayonnaise.
Yeah.
What's the cost? What's the cost, Mark? He has a receipt.
$8.
$8? I mean, that's worth a flyer, right?
Yeah.
What would a Parfum de Mayonnaise smell like?
know.
I love mayonnaise. Now, some people hate mayonnaise. Andy Staples calls it the devil's pomade. I'm a big mayonnaise guy,
It's good.
Yeah. I'm not
I don't know that I'm
overly.
Yeah, I don't know
in
that
love
I'm
with it.
going plain slab of bread and smearing it
No,
in
I'm not
mayonnaise.
doing
It ain't that good.
I'm not doing that.
But on a burger, sure. Yeah. Knock yourself out.
That it's underrated on a burger.
Yeah.
Yeah. On a sandwich. I mean, there's a lot of mayonnaise based things I make. I mean, I make broccoli salad, a lot of mayonnaise in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, eating it by itself, it's a little much. Putting in mayonnaise or putting in coffee would not do that. But this is great. I mean, it's good for them for recognizing the marketing possibility.
Yes.
And good for him for being like, hell yes. Pay me for this and let's have some fun.
Or hell mans.
Dylan says Big Joe will hate it. LOL. This is a referendum on Big Joe.
615-737-1025, our phone number. More of your reaction to Will Levis's mayonnaise commercial. We'll also get some thoughts on what John McClain had to say on all things NFL. That's coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, The Game.
Levis, that has everything you want in a quarterback, will be able to take advantage of the situation. I hope DeAndre Hopkins gets back sooner rather than later because he's one of my all-time favorite players. And you'd love to see Burks develop. And for everybody that's down on Burks, this time last year we said, well, Nico Collins, he flashes in camp and in practice, but man, he's hurt too much and he just hadn't done anything. This season's make or break. And then they get a quarterback in there who can throw the ball, and all of a sudden he was fantastic, got a new contract. And I'm not saying that'll happen to Burks. I'm just saying it could happen.
That's John McClain with us earlier this hour. If you missed it, check it out. Robby and Rexrode, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, theGameNashville.com. Appreciate John McClain for being with us earlier this hour. Lots of reaction to the Will Levis commercial that's out there from Hellman's Mayonnaise. A lot of people apparently have already ordered this thing. It's sold out, according to the text line, and they're restocking tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So marketing plan going very well for Hellman's Mayonnaise to this point.
Yeah. I want to get to this real fast before I get to that, because just to tie up loose ends, apparently NFL players will be in the flag football in the Olympics. So my goodness, watch out world. That's going to be
Sure, that'll be competitive.
And also baseball and softball coming back. And also Dennis interviewed Cameron Crowe, and I'm jealous. But can you not be so freaking predictable, Stilly? Can you not be so predictable, so predictably stupid?
It happened immediately.
He quote tweeted cringe
over the Will Levis commercial.
Do you not have a shred of a sense of humor? Is this going to turn into, oh, Will Levis, you better get in the film room? Is that what this is going to become?
I think it might. I think it may start it too.
I mean, you're like it's like Pavlov's dogs. Like, oh, here, go over there and sniff that butt. He's going to do it every time.
Clip that one up.
God.
Shane, there was the first response to Stilly's tweet is from Shane Scott on Twitter. Him agreeing to do this without winning anything yet does not give me confidence in his awareness rating, referring to Levis.
Well, I now have no confidence in you ever speaking or writing anything again that any other human listens to or reads. Please stop. Get off the internet. I'm going to defend this commercial, this amazing, glorious commercial, to the death.
Somebody says, shh, stop talking about the Mayo cologne. It's sold out already, and I'm trying to get some tomorrow.
That's more the spirit.
Yeah.
That's the spirit. My God.
I
have some fun in life.
I look forward to Will Levis addressing this later this week. And I also look forward to the takes coming in that this means that he's going to be a terrible quarterback because he's not focused on doing his job.
I look forward to the gold jacket that I am now convinced he will wear one day.
I can already envision the touchdown celebration. Like when they score and you remember when T.O. was it No, it was somebody in New Orleans. I can't remember who it was. Who ran under the they hit the cell phone under the
Joe Horn.
It's Joe Horn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Horn running under the goalpost, hit the
yeah.
cell phone, pulled it out. I need Levis to hide some cologne under the cell phone or under the field goal post. Score a touchdown, run over there, pull that bad boy out, just start squirting it.
Or what about, as a texter who mentioned O to BLT, what about like a sandwich and get a knife
that
and
would work too.
Slather it on, and
a lot of opportunities here.
Oh, hell yes.
Hell
absolutely. Hail yes, man. Not yes. Hail yes, man.
That's right.
Shout out to Coach Mac.
Thank you. What did you make of? I thought the comparison that McClain gave with Nico Collins and the year he had last year in Burks was interesting. Now, again, he did not say that Burks was about to have a Nico Collins-esque season from a year ago, but it is worth thinking about that similar conversations on the two heading into their third years.
Yeah. I had not thought of that comparison. Nico Collins is a good example of a guy who definitely had underwhelmed, had been banged up, was very talented, very good player at Michigan. And then last year he kind of has his breakthrough, and the quarterback play definitely part of that. And, for this year, Levis, the thing is, Burks has been playing with Ryan Tannehill, who I know probably some of the same people who think that that Levis shouldn't do commercials or something, think Tannehill sucked, but he didn't, so I don't look at like Collins had a bad QB situation, all due respect to to your guide, Inspector Gadget. And
think about
Burks,
the marketing
that's not
opportunities
that's part
for
of
him.
the, yeah. Oh my. Yeah. Seriously. Can there some way we can get a Levis Davis Mills commercial together?
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be.
Or a zoo down there. Somebody could advertise.
Eating lettuce off the trees and then put a little mayonnaise on it. I mean, we got possibilities. But yeah, that's not part of the Burke. The only thing the comparison doesn't really work in terms of like, that's not really Burke's story. It's not a QB situation. And he just hasn't been healthy. He hasn't been making plays. He hasn't been targeted when he's been out there. He hasn't earned the trust. But I'm still, I think a lot of people around the league who really, like McClain is one of those national NFL guys who pays attention to everything. Like I trust him and his analysis on any team he talks about. Same way I do with Charles, But I do think a lot of people around the league are looking at Burks as a breakout possibility, and maybe it can happen. I'm not ruling it out. I think this week is a pretty big week for Burks, actually.
Caleb and Gallatin says the Titans need a Thanksgiving game so Levis can slap some mayo over a turkey leg on live television. I got another text that says the Levis commercial giving big Derek Zoolander vibes. All right, then.
Hey, that's also an underrated
What
movie.
a film.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a turducken with some mayo.
Yeah.
Lots of possibilities.
Jacob from Murfreesboro, what would Burks need to do this season for it to be considered a success? Is it 40-plus catches, 600 yards? I really have no clue based on the other guys he'll competing for targets with. What do you make of that question?
So here's the thing. If Hopkins, Ridley, and Boyd all play 17 games, I can't imagine big numbers for Traylon Burks.
No.
I mean, it's just like he's the fourth guy. And he's the fourth guy if he's going to beat out NWI in certain situations. And I'm not convinced on that. So I think that question is hard to answer. Now, I don't think they'll all play 17 games. So if you presume that when everybody's healthy, he gets 12 to 15 snaps in a game, and then if you presume that there's going to be some more opportunity in other games because somebody will get banged up, then maybe that number is in the range. It's when he plays, is he getting open, getting targeted, making plays? I mean, does he break tackles?
Yeah.
Does he go up and win 50-50 situations? Like just all these things that we saw from him in college that just haven't materialized for whatever reason in the NFL.
I'll tell you, step one, is he available?
Yep.
That's the thing. Like that's step one to me to determining success for Burks this year is, I'm not saying he's got to be available for all 17, but it needs to be like 15 or 16. Like he needs to be available to play this year. That's step number one.
For sure. And we've talked about it. He needs to fall better. I know he needs to learn how to fall. He just keeps, getting up gingerly after, because he's got a bit. Look, like they've talked about it. I mean, he has gotten in really good shape. He's big and strong. He's kind of transformed his body, but it falls hard. So he's got to be available when he gets opportunities. But how many plays have we seen Traylon Burks make in 2 years that you can remember? I remember a couple he made in the win at Green Bay.
I remember the one play he made last year was the 70-yarder against the Chargers.
The big one against the Chargers. Huge
play.
play.
I think it was like a 50 or 55-yard play against Jacksonville at home 2 years ago. That's about it. Those are about the three that I remember right there.
And then when he got hurt in Philly, did he hold on?
He did hold on.
He held on the end zone and took the shot to the head.
Smoked. Yeah.
Yeah. So, look,
and then
those are all good plays.
Burks was the sideline in Pittsburgh last year. We got hurt again because it was scary.
Right. So, and those are all good plays. But, yeah, it's so hard to know what the opportunity is going to be, first of all. I think the first, like you said, availability, and then also when there are opportunities, who's getting them?
Yeah.
Is Traylon getting them or is NWI getting them? I don't know. And I know some people would be upset to see NWI get him, but I get why he would.
And I'm sure, let's say, even if NWI, I think it's probably going to be situational. Like what situation are they in? Because, we would all agree Burks is more of a downfield threat than NWI is. So there are going to be times, even if everybody's healthy, where Burks has some plays called for him. Can you take advantage of those opportunities and go up and make a play? Like, it's clearly, if everybody's healthy, it's not just going to be handed to you on a silver platter this year. There have been expectations the last 2 years where they needed him to be a big factor in the offense. And this year, if everybody's healthy, they don't necessarily need that. So can you manufacture that if you're him? Because now it's on you. Like the next step of your career, whether it's the new contract, your future with this team, your future with another team, a lot of it depends on you and how you're able to step up and take advantage of that this year.
Yeah. And one thing I do sense is that with that physicality, I do feel like this staff looks at him as a guy who here and there you sneak him a little end around, sneak him a little jet sweep, something like that, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah.
Again, he should be a guy who breaks tackles and is tough to bring down. And we've been talking about Deebo Samuel, not comparing, but like same sort of idea if he was what everyone thought he was coming out of Arkansas. Just haven't really seen it play out, but he's got the body for it.
Yep. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll take more of your thoughts on the Titans and Traylon Burks. Also get to an incoming story from Joe Rexrode in The Athletic coming up next as well. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game.
Football's close, folks, very close, and it's time for you to get on the action of FanDuel Sportsbook early this season. What are your favorite NFL futures bets? You've got player props. You can go TDs and rushing, receiving, passing, totals, all kinds of stuff like that. You got great team markets. Who do you like to make the playoffs, to win their division, Super Bowl matchups? You can parlay different picks together for bigger payouts. I'll give you one. I'll give you a couple. I'd go over on the Titans wins. I'd go under on the Lions wins. There's a couple tips for you. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. There is no better place to get ready for the football season than on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and official sports betting partner of the NFL. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/Joe102 to sign up today, and you must be 21 or older, present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbet.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
back in. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Tuesday morning. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Indy racing fans, the Big Machine Indy show car will be on display this Friday at SOAR Adventure Tower in Franklin. Come check it out from 6 to 8 p.m. And while you're there, register to win tickets to the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix as well. Again, that coming up this Friday at SOAR Adventure Tower in Franklin. 615-737-1025. The thoughts still rolling in on the Will Levis commercial. I'm sure this is going to be something that's a big talking point all week.
I hope so. And I hope it's not a dumb talking point.
Well,
let's enjoy it. Can we all enjoy it together as a society? Can we agree on anything as a society?
I don't know.
Like, if you don't think that's great, I feel I really am. I fear for you. I fear for you. Okay. Look at the little shush. You're running into the smoke. If you haven't seen this yet,
go check it out.
Absolutely brilliant.
And I would love to know tomorrow how many of you are going to order this cologne. That'd be good to know. We've already had several text in that have.
I know. Well, someone said Stilly said cringe and then quietly ordering a case for himself.
Well, maybe.
Hope so.
Maybe so.
Just gotta play up to the reputation, huh? Cringe.
I guess so. Joe, tell us about a story that's incoming at theathletic.com.
Yeah, actually, I meant to tell you that's it's not a story incoming at theathletic.com.
Well, what in the world?
But there is a story coming.
Yep, yet another shameless plug from Joe Rexrode.
I mean, I'll probably tweet about it. There's a story coming in general about Tennessee. I have to be very careful here. Okay, be very careful.
All right.
But this is my question. This is my question for Vols fans. Okay, I'm not saying whatever's happening. I'm asking a question. I think there's been a lot of talk about Neyland Stadium. A lot of these stadiums, they all have, they have naming sponsors, and some of them are just straight up. Kentucky is like Kroger Blue Light Special Field.
Yes.
If this were to come to pass at some point, who knows, in whatever day, month, week, year it may happen, who would Tennessee fans want to be that sponsor? Who would your first blush? Who are you picking?
Dollywood.
Hellman's. Oh, Dollywood.
Dolly Parton.
That would be a great troll to do Hellman's. What would Levis do, right? Dollywood's a great call.
Hi, I'm Will Levis, spokesman for Tennessee Athletics. Have you ever had Hellman's mayonnaise?
Finally, stop slapping Vols fans in the face.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes.
So, yeah, Dollywood is a great call. Nick, you have any thoughts?
Give me a second. I'm trying to think of something local there. Maybe.
Well, so the one that came to, and I understand that it's not original to Tennessee, but like Buc-ee's would be pretty sweet.
It
right?
would be pretty sweet.
I mean, they've got a Buc-ee's that's like in Crossville now. It's like,
and they got one in Sevierville too. I mean, there's a couple
there's a Sevierville one too.
The one that's in Sevierville is actually bigger too.
It is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every Buc-ee's I've been into has been the exact same format.
That reminds me when the first time you saw the name Sevierville, you called it Seaverville, and it was amazing.
Yes. Well, I know, but I had to drive through Lebanon that day, and
a massive underwater tunnel.
Yeah.
So, okay, Dollywood is a great idea. That's
I'm here. I'm here for it.
That's I mean, anything to do. In fact, my license plate, I got the Dolly Parton reading program on my license plate. Yep, I see Buc-ee's. There you go on the text line. Yeah, Jack Daniels. I mean, that does make sense, right?
It does.
It does make sense. It may not be giving out exactly the message you want, whereas there's a little more wholesomeness with Dollywood, the Lee Company.
Yeah. I mean, I have several different options. One of those pancake houses in East Tennessee. They make some cash.
Gary, I mean, here we go. This is where worlds collide, right? I mean, why didn't we think about this? French's Mustard Field. In comes Levis. By the way, how many things do you like both mayonnaise and mustard on?
Very few.
Do you ever know with a burger, though?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise on a burger, especially if it's a bacon burger.
Yeah.
Try it. Check it out.
Okay.
Also, the olive loaf I make, of course, is very much heavy in the mayonnaise.
I mean, you could lean into
green olive salad.
If you wanted to continue the theme of just going directly in opposition to the state of Kentucky, You could just go like Publix or something. Just lean into the grocery
Oh,
battle. Food
yes.
City. There's a lot of food cities up there in Knoxville.
For sure. For anybody who is from the Midwest, I've said, Michigan or Michigan State, they should go Meyer Thrifty Acres Stadium.
Yeah.
So if you know Meyer Thrifty Acres, my goodness, what a glorious place that is.
Farm Bureau is a submission on the text line.
Okay.
Could go.
Nick from Franklin claims that the Levis cologne is already sold out. Holy crap.
It
these
is.
People are geniuses.
It is sold out. They're going to have they're restocking tomorrow, apparently.
Oh, did you say that already?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So they're like, this is actually going to become like everyone's going to have this cologne.
Yeah.
This is so brilliant. I might actually switch from Dukes. I'm a Dukes guy. I might switch to Hellman's. I might go to Hellman's because of this whole thing. This is like marketing at work, and I think it actually might work on me. I might go to Hellman's, and I might start wearing cologne.
Hey, maybe so.
I can't wait for Levis's presser this week.
It's going to be awesome. I hope he spends significant time talking about it.
What kind of football work did you sacrifice doing this commercial?
Andrew says, Buc-ee's is everything wrong with America. What a disgustingly perfect example of capitalism gone wrong. Mindless cows being herded through buying trash they don't need.
Who hurt you, Andrew?
Yeah, what are we doing?
My goodness. I mean, look, I think it's a little overrated, if we're being honest. Like the brisket, a little fatty. Yeah. Tacos, a little
it's the experience.
But
it's like going to Disney
Yeah,
World.
it's fun. They get you out fast. I've never had to wait ever to buy something. Also, I think that those candied pecans and almonds are pretty good, man. There's some good stuff in there. Yeah, you don't need to buy like the Buc-ee's foam finger when you go, or like a poster.
My 1-year-old may or may not have a Buc-ee's swimsuit. So
that's outstanding.
Throwing that out there.
That is outstanding.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in, Ethan. Ethan, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I think it's a little odd that Stillman called Levis cringe for that commercial. You know what else is cringe? Yesterday on Stillman's show, he referred to Bill Callahan's offensive line equipment as a mistress's dungeon. I would say that's more cringe.
Yeah, okay, then.
Can you help me with the context of that? What?
I have no idea. He was just talking about how awesome Coach Bill Callahan's equipment was that he used to train the offensive linemen, and he said it's like a mistress's dungeon.
Interesting. A lot of interesting stuff coming out of Stilly's mouth lately.
All right. I don't know. I mean, he's talking thongs.
Yeah.
What is he okay?
I don't know.
Man, I just love that Nick wrote up there, Ethan - Stilly weird.
He wants to
That's
talk
the
about
topic. Stilly weird.
I'm talking about you.
Load. What the hell? Oh,
this show is careening to a halt.
Great time to stop the program.
615-737-1025. Joe is abandoning us tomorrow. Paul Kuharski will be in on the program tomorrow. So
Get excited.
To that.
He'll be a lot older and probably less mayo on the show.
I'm excited.
We'll have the
I know
I'm
you
sure
are.
you are. We'll have Titans Seahawks joint practices beginning this week as well.
We will.
Looking forward to that. Titans getting a little bit of a later start to help accommodate the Seahawks coming in. So that's very nice of Brian Cal.
Yeah, they're on Pacific time. I like it.
There you go. 615-737-1025. We'll have you covered all day. Chasing Big Joe coming up next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.